Hello friends, I'm Nisha Sharma, Associate Professor, Department of English. Wish you all a very happy Diwali. The topic under discussion today is a critical appreciation of the sonnet, the Lotus by Toru. Toru was an educated young woman who had traveled to Britain and France during her childhood. British literature and culture influenced her and is demonstrated in various works by Toru, including the Lotus. In the poem, Toru presents the idea that the lotus is the most beautiful of all flowers in order to establish superiority of the Hindu religion over other world religions. The poem The Lotus is from Dutt's Ancient Ballads and Legends of Hindustan, published in 1882. The poem enacts a type of fable in which the personified figure of love comes to Flora, the Roman goddess of flowering plants, asking her to create the most beautiful flower in the world. After the long standing feud between the lily and the rose is described, love expresses a desire to have a flower that carries elements of both. Give me a flower, delicious as the rose, and stately as the lily in her pride. When asked what color the flower should be, love first says rose red, then qualifies this by saying no, lily white, or both provide. The poem ends with Flora gifting love the lotus, a flower that has both elements of the lily's beauty and the rose's beauty. The poem, as such, reflects one instance of Toru Dutt drawing a link between European culture and Indian Asian culture. The poem is in the form of a sonnet. Just as I have told you earlier, a sonnet is a poem of 14 lines. And this poem is in the form of a Petrarchan sonnet. Torudat had an ability to excel in her writing at a young age and is one of the most famous Indo-Anglican poets of India. She mastered the lotus in a Petrarchan style by separating the poem into two divisions, the octave and the sestet. Octave is a stanza of 8 lines and sestet is a stanza of 6 lines. Torudat was able to present the problem of searching for the queenliest flower in the octave, which was composed of the first 8 lines, and resolve the issue by, in terms of form, the lotus is a Petrarchan sonnet, 14 lines in length, and enclosed rhymes in the octave, the first 8 lines of the poem, and the overall rhyme scheme A B B A A B B A C D C C D C C D C D C D C D D C. The octave develops the backstory of love approaching Flora, and it also gives a backstory of the conflict between the rose and lily. The rose, red in color and actually native to Asia, is being used here as a symbol of the ideals of Asian beauty, while the lily, white in color and present in much European imagery, such as coats of arms, is used as a symbol of Europe and the West in general. The poem is thus not just a fantastical and whimsical dialogue between mythic figures, but also a serious contest regarding the nature of beauty. She uses the rose and lily in the poem to describe the West and the East. Lily is a representation of the white race, and the rose depicting the reddish skin of the Eastern race. such as her native India. Thus, the poem The Lotus indicates a fusion between the West and East. Although Toru herself was raised as a Christian with Western ideology, she was able to relate herself back to her Eastern roots of India in the sonnet. The lotus is a representation of Toru and her cultural encounters living in Western Europe. She interlaces her Western experience and education in order to create herself as her beautiful native Indian lotus flower. Now, a brief summary of the poem. The lotus begins with a conflict between the rose and the lily flower. The goddess of love, Aphrodite, approached the flower goddess Flora to create a flower who would undisputedly be the queenliest of all flowers. Both the lily and the rose use their bars of power in their fight over the queenliest flower title. Bards is associated with Gaelic spiritual power traditions of England, Scotland, and Ireland. Toru uses Greek and Roman mythology as support for her Hindu beliefs and to establish her stand. The rose is described as never reaching the level of the lily flower because the lily has a strong willed demeanor. The poem has a turn or volta. Volta is turn in thought after the octave, and the interlocking rhyme schemes of the sestet, the last six lines, mirror the conversation conducted between Flora and Love. When the poem resolves itself, elements of both Western and Eastern beauty are united in the transitional figure of the lotus, a classic Indian symbol of beauty, youth, and divinity. In line 8 of the poem, we reach the climax, where all the flower groups form cliques in a bitter conflict within the soul's essence. The goddess Flora is given a task of creating a flower as delicious as the rose and stately as the lily in her tribe. Lines 9 to 14 of the poem describes the solution to the problem of finding the queenliest flower of all. Toru has Flora create a flower that is both red as a rose and white as lily. As a result, Flora creates a flower with the characteristics of rose and lily and combined and created the beautiful lotus flower. Now, why did Toru choose the lotus flower as the queenliest of all flowers? Or we can say what is the theme of the poem? The lotus is a national symbol of India and the Hindu faith. The overall theme of the poem is the pride of India's culture and Hindu religion. The idea of Hindu being the ultimate religion of the world is the main focus of the lotus. Hinduism is polytheistic in nature and beliefs are practiced through idol worship. The idols can be human, animal, or natural, such as the sun god. Each idol has a form of symbolism which represents knowledge, wealth, and strength, among a few things. Toru wanted to acknowledge her Indian background for others to understand her love for her native country, India. Although she had traveled and received her education abroad during her childhood, she still believes India to be her home. Indian tradition explains the lotus flowers spring not from the earth but from the surface of the water and will remain pure and unblemished, not matter the impurity of the water. The purity of the lotus expresses the idea of supernatural birth and appearance of the first created entity from the ancient waters of chaos. Thus, the lotus is observed as the medium of the Hindu creator Narayana and his second being God Brahma. Toru uses the idea of the Greek and Roman goddesses to create a Western understanding of Hinduism and its divine faith of the lotus. While superficially providing a pithy and entertaining explanation for the creation of the lotus flower, the lotus also provides deeper interpretive meaning insofar as it discusses the ideals of beauty in different parts of the world. The creation of a liminal or transitional beauty, one that sits in between the ideals of East and West in the form of the lotus, evokes and suggests not only Dutt's home of India, but also Dutt herself, whose life experiences in colonial India and all around Europe fundamentally make her a figure of transition, intermixing, and cultural exchange. The poem also calls back to Dutt's larger body of work in its attention to and fascination with both natural beauty and world religions, including the pagan religion of ancient Rome. Symbolism in the lotus. Toru Dutt's The Lotus is a Petrarchan sonnet that deals with the issue of crowning a flower as the queen. When love looks for it, the choice cannot be made easily. Poets over the years have highlighted different aspects of the rose and lily, two contenders for the high honor, and in each case it seems that one has a better claim over the other. Two arguments, one each in favor of the rose and lily, are presented in the first 8 lines of the poem. As love search for the perfect flower continues, the sestet sees the resolution of the argument. Love wants to have the best possible feature in the queenliest flower that blooms. In such situation, it is the lotus which is given to love, which was not only rose red dyed but also lily white, and is the most suitable candidate for the position of the queen of flower. At a deeper and symbolic level, the poem deals with the operations of psyche, love, and flora. Love asks flora for the best solution to have a happy and peaceful life. At first, at first, Flora points to what is going on in psyche, the rising and falling of the conflicting thoughts and feelings, pride, lily, and sobriety, rose, purity, love, stateliness, deliciousness, life, death, etc. Love then asks for a solution in which the contraries merge and transform into a harmonious whole, and Flora offers the lotus, the symbol of the unified vision as talked of in Indian philosophy. Some figures of speech have also been used by Toru in her Lotus. First is allusions. That shows her superb mythopoetic imagination. Love and Flora both are related to Greek and Roman myths. In Latin mythology, love is Cupid, he loved the beautiful maiden Psyche. Flora in Roman mythology is goddess of flower and springtime. Personification. Love, Flora, Rose, Lily. Similarly, rose can never tower like pale lily, a flower delicious as the rose, stately as the lily. Metaphor. Lotus is considered queenliest of flowers, that flowers are rivals, they think of high honor. One cannot tower the other. Dialogues and descriptions. The poet has used both dialogues and descriptions. Short dialogues of love show his curiosity and impatient mind. He fumbles in the choice of beautiful, shown through affirmation and negation. The use of hyphen tells this all. Thank you.